In video 3 of this series, we learned about na and nai, and also about nara and narai. But then in video 4, we learned only about ga and gai. Well, there's also gaara and garaghị, and in this video, we'll find out what we can say with gaara and garaghị. Gaara plus a participle is used to say would have, and garaghị plus a participle is used to say wouldn't have. Here is our verb list again. This time around, I've changed the complement of some of the verbs that we saw earlier, just to give you something different to work with. The ones in green have been changed. Before we saw ịgba ọsọ to run. Now we have ịgba egwu to dance. Before we had ime ihe to do something, and now we have ime nzuzu to act the fool. Literally, you might say it means to do foolishness, but the more polished translation would be to act a fool. Before we had inwe ego to have money, now we have inwe ndidi to have patience. Finally, before we had ịchọ ihe to want something or to seek something, and now we have ịchọ okwu to look for trouble. All the other verbs are the same, so let's move on and see them in their gaara and garaghị forms. Gaara agba egwu would have danced. Garaghị agba egwu wouldn't have danced. Gaara agba egwu, garaghị agba egwu. Garaghị ije would have walked. Garaghị aga ije wouldn't have walked. Garaghị ije, garaghị aga ije. Gara enwe ndidi would have had patience. Garaghị enwe ndidi wouldn't have had patience. Gara enwe ndidi, garaghị enwe ndidi. Gara eme nzuzu would have acted a fool. Garaghị eme nzuzu wouldn't have acted a fool. Gara eme nzuzu, garaghị eme nzuzu. Gara eri nri would have eaten food. Garaghị eri nri wouldn't have eaten food. Gara eri nri, garaghị eri nri. Gara achị ọchị would have laughed. Garaghị achị ọchị wouldn't have laughed. Gara achị ọchị, garaghị achị ọchị. Gara ebido ọrụ would have begun work. Garaghị ebido ọrụ wouldn't have begun work. Gara ebido ọrụ, garaghị ebido ọrụ. Gara achọ okwu would have looked for trouble. Garaghị achọ okwu wouldn't have looked for trouble. Gara achọ okwu, garaghị achọ okwu. Gara ekwu okwu would have talked. Garaghị ekwu okwu wouldn't have talked. Gara ekwu okwu, garaghị ekwu okwu. Gara akụ aka would have clapped, would have knocked. Garaghị akụ aka wouldn't have clapped, wouldn't have knocked. Gara akụ aka, garaghị akụ aka.